How's it going, YouTube? My name's Chili, and today we're going to be talking about the best counterpicks in Smash Ultimate. At least this is going to be the first section for the top row of the character roster. Now, when I talk about counterpicks, I mostly mean different characters, mostly secondaries, that you want to go instead of your main, whether because it's a weird matchup, an unfamiliar matchup, or you think the playstyle will just be better with a different character. Keep in mind that I think there are a lot of worth in every single character in the game, depending on lots of different factors, and that's what I'm mostly going to be touching on throughout this series. So I hope you try to take what I say and use it to consider what character you're going to pick as a counterpick. With all that being said, let's start with the first character on the list, Mario. I think he would probably go somewhere around great counterpick. Now, I think Mario has a lot of busted strengths. I think he has amazing combos, has really weird interactions with Cape and Flood, and I think that he beats a lot of common characters that show up in Bracket. I do think, however, that while he is a very easy character, there are very common situations you'll fall into that may be a bit frustrating to switch into him immediately. So just due to his lack of range, you might not see your pressure being that great at first, and I feel like he's only truly amazingly busted on certain stages to be the point that I think that if you're not playing on Yoshi's or Smashville or Battlefield, you'll find yourself, playing a lot of even matchups, especially when it comes to some weird characters that you wouldn't expect to be even matchups. So I think Mario, while being very broken, is and very easy, to be honest. I think he has a lot of weird interactions that might make it so you get counterpicked yourself, either by playstyles of people trying to camp you, or just being like heavy characters that can reversal you very easily, or just sword characters that you might not want to have to deal with. So again, great character, but I do think he has a bit of flaws in some areas that won't make him the most broken counterpick ever. Next up, and I'm going to put him in the niche counterpick situation because I think he has interesting situations, is Donkey Kong. Now, the thing about Donkey Kong is, while he's not the best character, usually considered around top 5, not really top 5, I mean bottom 5, this character is so cheesy. He has some really silly spikes, amazing armor for some moves, shield break setups, and just a really good shield break move. Cargo is like one of the most, you better be able to mash and tech at all times so you don't die at 20 options in the game. He has, the platform ding dong. There are just some players who have to fight Donkey Kong. There are like a lot of people who probably have bigger Donkey Kong problems than they really do, because while he does have very big weaknesses, I do see a lot of people struggle with having to either kill him because of the character they play, or just getting cheesed in very common situations. I think Donkey Kong can work really well against characters like Sonic, some of the sword characters, or really any of the slow characters. I think you can deal with them very well, in the point where I think if you wanted to be a Donkey Kong secondary, you're just really relying on the cheese factor, and that's not something you can't completely ignore in tournament. Like I've seen a lot of people just get back thrown off stage and just die to down air at 20 because it's just, that's how tournament is. You get nervous and then Donkey Kong abuses that. So as a counterpick, he's not the most broken, obviously, but as a niche situational thing where cheese matters, he can work. Next up, we're going to be talking about Link. Now, I really think that technical counterpick isn't even the right word for this. I'm going to just call him perhaps too technical. Yeah, that seems like it fits a lot better. Now, I think I'm part of the group that says that Link with Bomb can have the most broken combos in the game. Like, to the point where it's so insane. Like, he can do stuff that's, like, killing at 15 if he's lucky. But, not even lucky, just if he's technical enough and, like, practices quite a bit. But I do think that since Link combos are so reliant from being broken as a counterpick, when it comes to just that being his value, I don't think it's worth it. Like, I feel like there's a lot of characters that just straight up outclass Link when it comes to just being a zoner, doing really stupid combos. Just trying to get to the point where you're doing the dumb combos doesn't really fit the counterpick-esque kind of thing. Most of the time when you see a Link player, they're Link mains, and while they're very, very strong at those things, because the bomb combos need to be practiced to be consistent, I just don't think it's worth it trying to be a counter picker with Link. If you wanted to pick a zoner, there's just so many better zoners. If you wanted to pick a combo character, even Young Link would be a better counter pick as a combo character. He's much easier, he's a lot faster, and while they both have similar issues with getting edge guarded, Young Link could really fit a lot better. But, you know, Link is sick as hell, and if you really wanted to work that hard, go for it. He just might be a little too difficult to be what I would try to use myself. Alright, and next up is Samus. Samus and Dark Samus. I'd probably put them in probably great counter pick, I would say. Now, when it comes to Samus's style of playing very defensively, throwing projectiles, zoning very well, trying to get people to do what they do, I think she's amazing at it. I think she has like one of the best ledge trapping in the game. She controls the pace and neutral so well, gets so many characters, and honestly, I think there aren't enough Samus mains giving it justice how good she is. However, I think when it comes to using a counter pick character, maintaining styles and switching between those styles can be very difficult. I think going from something like defensive Fox to defensive Samus isn't that bad. You know, you're switching from a fast character to a slower one with better zonus tools. But when it comes to like, I'm going to be from a fast aggressive Roy to a slow paced Samus, you're going to have to really change up your game plan a lot. She works best as a style change that if you're prepared for, I think works very well. But then you have the issue where she doesn't really do amazing against some top tiers, and you know, top tiers are the most relevant characters to exist. So you know, you're gonna run into Palus, into Wolves, into Foxes, into Roys, into those characters who run at you a lot, and I don't think her game plan is bad. Like, she obviously can deal with those characters, but as a counter pick, you're gonna run into, I don't know what top tiers you're gonna counter pick with Samus. I feel like the best characters you're gonna counter pick with Samus are gonna be like mid tiers and low tiers. And while there's are great things to counter pick, I think you want to also do very well against the top tier characters, the top threats around. And I think her best matchup that I can imagine you counter picking for, like if you really hate playing it, is like Sonic. Maybe Pikachu, but I see Pikachu doing very well too. So it's just something to keep in mind. Of course, this is just my opinion, and I'm no Samus main, but I don't think I would see Samus as broken as a counter pick, just because of the top characters in the meta right now. And alright, the next character I would say to be going next would be Yoshi. And I think Yoshi would probably go around great counter pick as well. I feel like this is another case where amazing against mid tiers and low tiers, but doesn't really do amazing versus a lot of top tiers. And especially in the meta that they're in right now, I think like the best matchups Yoshi has against Rob, which is pretty common, but then you have Palu, who's very common. Pyra Mithra's not that great. Roy's not that great. But Yoshi's, you know, not that hard to switch to. You know, he has really, really good combos that, and he can play both styles very, very well of being aggressive and defensive in different spots. And there's just so much Yoshi data out there that you can learn the game very well with him. I just think it's another case where if you're going to switch to Yoshi, I don't know what top tiers you would be counter-picking Yoshi other than maybe Rob. When I think of a counter-pick, I'm thinking lots of even matchups, but I think Yoshi would be mostly an even matchup Demon instead of just being I win against all these common characters Demon. And even his best matchup, Rob, it's still having a good matchup against Rob is just a given, and Rob still will just cheese a game out of it because Rob is Rob. So, you know, I just think as good as he can be as a counter pick, and I would say it's a great thing to consider due to how easy he is, I do think there are better choices out there. Alright, and the next character will be Kirby, who will also go in the niche counter pick section. Kirby has a game plan that is so tilting if you are certain characters. I think being super small and having busted combos works very well against ZSS, Palutena, and Fox. Those three at least. I think Roy even has a little bit of a struggle with it too. It's just super obnoxious. The super obnoxious play that you have to do against Kirby as some of the best characters in the game really bring up his value a bit. It's just kind of just I feel like this is a very much a player matchup based thing. Like, sure, there are top tiers that absolutely decimate Kirby in ways that like some mid tiers wish they could. Like, I think Diddy Kong is like absolutely fucks up Kirby, but you know, it's like the characters that you could go Kirby against. Like, if you have Palutena, let's say you have Palutena as your worst matchup, which a lot of mid tiers do, and you love playing Kirby, that's your choice. Like, no Palutena's gonna have fun with that. They're gonna be like, God damn it, I have to fight a fucking Kirby? That's gonna suck. It's gonna be slow, it's gonna be really hard to hit you, and you can still edgeguard and bully and all this stuff. This is just one of those cases where there's some characters in the game that you can just be as obnoxious as possible, and you'll win games. You'll win sets doing that. Kirby is one of them. The next character will be Fox, and I actually am going to put Fox in the alright counter pick simply because of his difficulty. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Fox is a particularly super hard character to play, but what I am saying is he's a very difficult character to switch to. The precision you need to play Fox against some of these really good characters, or even not even very good characters, just some even obnoxious heavies, or just like weird matchups, I really don't think it's worth it playing Fox all the time. Like, don't get me wrong, he beats a lot of characters, but I really think the precision it takes to play Fox, you'll have to be mostly a Fox main. I don't think he falls into the technical category that Link does, because I feel like he can win sets just doing the basic Fox things of nairing, back airing, and nair up smash. Like, I feel like there are some matchups that he can just do that in, but when it comes to playing, there are a lot of really good players out there that know how to deal with Fox now, and with how busted he is, you have to like bring out all of his bustedness. You need to be warmed up heavily and have the style already in your head. Like, I feel like if you're gonna play Fox as a counter pick, you need to go into the set knowing that of that possibility. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna go my counter pick now because I thought about it. It's like, I'm playing Fox for this set, and that might not be, I don't value that high, because I think you'd rather just be a Fox main. But, you know, he's still a broken character with really good matchups, so I can't say he's not a good counter pick. I just suggest playing an easier one. Next up on the list is Pikachu, and I think this is going to be a bit of a controversial pick again, but I would also put him in the alright counter pick section. I do think Pikachu is the best character in the game, but I think he takes so much effort to do some of the basic things that other characters have to do. When you get your Pikachu on point, that shit's ridiculous. But sometimes, even like the best Pikachus, it's hard to keep it up. It really is. There's gonna be lots of players who just know how to deal with Pikachu stuff, and you have to mix up really hard to get like any damage. Like, if you aren't on point with loops, and aren't on point with edge guards, and aren't on point with your timings of mix-ups, you're missing damage, you're missing kills. Like, I swear, if your Pikachu is not on point, you're not killing anybody. And that is so frustrating to deal with, to switch to. Like, I'm not gonna say he's a bad counter pick because obviously he's broken. And it's the same thing with Fox, but I feel like it's even worse when you have to deal with characters who would mash and kill you. Like, Pikachu's best moves to mash and kill you are like dash attack at 130, up throw at 170, and then he gets edge guards and ledge traps. If you aren't on point with your edge guards and ledge traps, then you have to go a raw smash attacks. It's like, it's just hard. As a counter pick, I think when you try to, like, I think this is just, you need to main Pikachu. But, you know, if you're willing to put in the time to counter pick with him, of course he beats so many characters. But I think it may be more worth it to go with someone else if you want to reach, you know, this is a lot of better choices if you want to use a counter pick. The effort for Pikachu it's just not worth it. All right, and we're moving on to Luigi. Now, I think this is gonna be an interesting take, but I'm gonna put Luigi in amazing counter pick. You can counterpick for a lot of different reasons, whether it be because you don't like the way someone is playing, you don't like the matchup that they're dealing with, or they play a weird matchup. You know what Luigi does? You know what Luigi loves making people feel like? Really stressed. On top of it being tournament, he kills you for grabbing you at 0. He kills you for touching his shield poorly. He kills you for being off stage in the wrong spot. He kills you for just tech chasing. I don't think he's broken as a character, but when I see in stress in tournament, do you know how nervous people get when you pull out Luigi? It's crazy. You have to play on point to deal with some top Luigis. I think this might be the hottest take I'm gonna make of this video, but I swear people should counterpick Luigi more. It's so stupid. Like just he naturally does so much damage. So much damage. In a tournament where people are just like perfect trying to space it, I'ma just grab. Or I'm trying to juggle you, I'm a down B. Luigi is super silly. He honestly is one of the, like, a ridiculous counterpick. But, of course, I'm going to be alone in that. I feel like I'm going to be alone in that. It's going to be, but I think he's really silly. And next, I would say, I think it's Ness. I always lose him when I do this thing. There he is. Alright, Ness. I think Ness is very silly in a lot of ways. I think he's very easy in a lot of ways. But I do think I think the effort he takes to deal with a lot of weird matchups. I don't know who you're counterpicking with Ness other than Pikachu and Fox. I think a lot of times I see solo Ness mains because of the reason that he's not difficult, but to push him to be good, you have to do a lot of Ness specific things. I feel like if you counterpick Ness in this meta, you were a Ness main before. You already learned how to do the IDJ, or you do the double jump cancel, side magnet, double jump cancel, PK fire, all that stuff that makes him at least okay in the meta. Which I think if you're going to counterpick with Ness, honestly, there are just better counterpicks. I feel like there's just a lot of better counterpicks than Ness. I feel like there aren't that many characters he straight up beats that are that matter a lot in the meta. And I think he takes more effort than he should when it comes to a lot of characters. Plus, I feel like he's one of the easiest characters to just overwhelm in common situations. Switching to him is just very difficult. Very good character, but I think it's difficult to switch to him or to say that he would be better than a lot of other characters as a counterpick. Next will be Captain Falcon, and this will also go into the alright counterpick section. I think some characters that Falcon faces, he absolutely decimates. I think all the heavies and all the slow characters get obliterated by Falcon. And I think those characters, it's worth trying to use him as a counterpick. But I do think when it comes to having a secondary, especially if you're only playing 2 characters, a lot of the relevant characters in the game, he just doesn't do that well against. I think it's like, there are a lot of top tiers that Falcon just does okay against, or does well against, but I wouldn't say straight up beats. But I think he's a counterpick in the sense of, if you wanna beat slow and heavy characters, Falcon's your man. But I think when it comes to just playing against a lot of other characters, it's just not going to be useful that much. He's not going to be chosen that much as a counterpick. This is why I put him as alright. I think he has his spot as a counterpick character, but a lot of top tier mains just won't find much use for him if he's not facing, a low tier or a big character. And the final character of this video will be Jigglypuff. Now, I think this is going to be an interesting thing because I'm going to probably put him in niche counterpick as well. Jigglypuff is very much like Kirby in where they have their biggest game plan that will be why you counterpick to them. I can throw you off stage and you might die at any percent. Depending on the character, this is the niche that they have. I think there are many matchups that Jigglypuff can do this in, and many matchups that they cannot. The fact that Base Mage does as well as he does with the character is crazy, but when it comes to picking Jigglypuff as a counterpick character, it's gonna be specifically for that. It's just like, I think this character has a very bad recovery, or I think this person's recovery I can catch on to, and that is their niche. And I think that this is a very strong niche. Like if I had a different tier for niches, this would be like one of the best niches to have, because there's some characters who just, their whole weakness is around their recovery and they just don't have a way to deal with Ness, like Puff and neutral. And that's why I think it's funny that she does just beat Min Min in this sense. So I think if you're going to pick a secondary for this specific reason, Jigglypuff is the choice, but it's going to be tough. There are some matchups that are really tough, and if your secondary is Jigglypuff, when you have to face a Lucina as a Mario main, well, I don't know what to tell you. And alright, that is the first section of the tier list I am making for the best counterpicks in the game. Keep in mind that this will be released probably almost every day, but I just wanted to get one out to just start the ball rolling, start the conversation, make sure we can at least talk about it. Some picks might be a little bit iffy, like I might move Luigi down, I might move Ness up, but I just wanted to get the conversation going, since I think being able to pick a strong counterpick for you can be very, very good in the future. If you have anything you want to say, put it in the comments, subscribe so you can keep up with the videos, and I'll see you guys later.